Okay. We are now doing a thing. You're fine. All right. Now let's hope that the camera portion actually works since I just turned it on. And yeah, there it is. Sweet. Okay. Well, hello. Uh, this is our first extra live stream for 2021. Um, we we'd made an incentive for our one last year that if we raised $375, we'd make homemade spaghetti and meatballs. So that's what we're doing today. So a couple, just maybe an hour and a half, 2 hour stream, something like that. Nothing super long, but yeah. So that's what we're gonna be doing today. For those of you who do not know, this is what we're doing the streaming for. A little bit about exactly what Extra Life does and how anything that you may be willing and generous enough to donate, how that goes and helps the kids at these hospitals. We are of course streaming for Children's Hospital at Erlanger. That's our local Children's Miracle Network hospital just down the road. So yeah, there's all that good stuff. There's the URL down there if you want to go to the Extra Life page and learn a little bit more about that. And yeah, we're not going to waste too much time on it. We're going to go ahead and get started with everything. Pull up my stuff real fast just so I don't forget nothing, because that will happen. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started then. So first thing we're going to do here is we're gonna make the pasta first. It's got once we make it, it'll need to firm up for about half an hour or so, and then that time we're gonna go through and make all the meatballs and stuff. So this right here, a buddy of mine actually taught me how to make this, and it always turns out really well, I think. So this right here is 3 parts of a 00 flour, and then in things that can't be seen, of course. And then right here is 1 part of semolina flour. There, that right there. So for what we're doing 300 grams of 00 and then 100 grams of the semolina. And then for all this, we're going to throw in 4 eggs, just as they are. We'll go ahead and give those a quick little dump in there. All right. Okay, then we're just going to use the dough hook on it. Okay, hopefully this isn't super loud. I've not done this part with the mic on, so we're about to find out. Not too terribly. Of course, I can also back up, I suppose. All right, so this part right here, we're basically just going to mix it until it turns into in this case, a yellowish type dough. This should be all you need. We've got a little bit of water right here. Sometimes it takes a little bit to combine. It ends up being just a little bit dry. So a little splash of water or two to to bring it together, but it may not be needed. So we'll know here in just a minute if it's needed. Well, hello there. I ain't shooting. What's up, buddy? A little too much there. Hi, Mom. Here, I've waved to you on the internet. Hello. Okay, so it's starting to dope a little bit. This might be the point where we need that little splash of water, maybe. Although it's starting to come along a little bit better, it looks like. I think usually when I make this, I end up having to put just a tiny, tiny little bit of water. So it's pointing down. Okay. Well, it's not hard to make. Mom has made a Twitch channel, by the way. So she has brought her powers into Twitch chat now. So between her and my sister, we might get run off Twitch.
Twitcher.
Okay, but all right, it's starting to come along a little bit now. Okay, we're gonna get just a quick little splash. It doesn't need that much. Mom says hi.
Hi.
Hopefully that noise isn't too terrible. I've got a new mic and I don't know how to noise gate stuff or anything like that. Do what? I guess I could. Can't really talk very much. Then there's just no sound at all. I don't know the best way to do it.
I would say, well, why don't you just stand over here?
Yeah, I did do that earlier. It did work out. Oh, hold on. We have a dough thing. Almost. One more little splash there. For Mr. I Ain't Shooting, if you're still in here, if you would send me a text message. I wanna drop a link to the sauce and meatball recipe if you don't mind too terribly. Okay, and we just kind of made it like oh no, there it is. All right. There we go. Yeah. All right. Do. I didn't get out the thing. I didn't get out the pastry thingy. And also put the flour up. I don't know why I did that. I feel like I knew I was going to need it again. All right. So that's the dough. It's literally 3 things, and that's it. So with the dough, you can do a couple different things with it. I don't salt mine necessarily, but you can add salt to it. You can add garlic or different little spices and things like that if you're inclined to do so. I normally don't.
Sorry.
You can move that. That's fine.
No,
No, you're good. The internet did see your leg though.
Ah!
I know. Tragedy. Okay. Let me get the flour out that I was foolish enough to put up earlier. There we go. Amateur Productions. Okay, we're gonna dust that down just a little bit, so we can take our dough here.
I feel like. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Is this gonna be in the way of a?
No, you're good.
Well, it is gonna be in the way for a second.
Oh God, they're both in here. I mean, hi, sister of mine. How are you?
No, that's in the way.
Oh, I just realized, do we have saran wrap? Or any wrap?
With plastic bag
That'll work.
and towel.
No, a plastic bag. A plastic bag will work.
You know how I feel about saran wrap.
I know. Saran wrap is a saran wrap. The devil invented two things: printers and saran wrap.
Foosball.
Did you say and foosball?
Foosball.
Get out of my house.
The devil.
Get out of my house.
Oh, that's too bright.
Yeah, maybe just a little
Looks
bit.
like an angel is on there.
Yeah, we have to say that.
Like
The dough is blinding.
I'm gonna take that down.
All right. So there is our lump of dough. It's dough. I know, right? All right. So usually you just put this in saran wrap. I didn't buy saran wrap, so I'm gonna put this.
And I never buy saran wrap. I hate it.
I'm gonna put this right here in this here bag, and this is gonna go in the fridge for about like 30 minutes, just to give it some time to firm up and all that good stuff. So we'll go ahead and chuck this in there. You mean the fact I'm dragging a cable all over the kitchen?
That's the reason I didn't let the dogs eat supper yet. Because they'll tangle immediately.
That is the truest story ever. My sister, aka the fortune cookie, says hello.
Hi.
Okay, I'll give this a quick rinse, and then while that's firming up, we'll go ahead and move on to the meatballs. Oh yeah, stir. I won't complain if you want to, but I'm not gonna ask you to. Okay. All the noise you're hearing is me currently washing a bowl because we're gonna use the mixer again. Wait. Wait a minute. The meatballs have egg in them anyway.
Huh?
I was supposed to say the meatballs have egg in them anyway.
Yes, I know.
But I guess it'd be good to get all the dough pieces off too.
Right.
Need help?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that checks out. Good job, Lauren.
Lauren is not going to let any food go untouched.
Oh my God.
She's on bowl number 3 cat food.
So Twitch chat with both my mom and my sister are going about as you would expect. Brittany wants to know why I'm not talking to her. Mom says, leave your brother alone. Yes, we know you take the fortune cookie very seriously. Open up a fortune cookie and tell us how we're going to do tonight. Hopefully the answer is well. All right.
Oh, here it goes.
All right, so now we can.
I'm out.
All right.
You can show the full kitchen now.
Okay. All right, so now we can go. Now we're going to go back and get the meatballs started. So for the meatballs overall is pretty straightforward stuff. Pretty easy. First thing we'll do, I have, oh, wait a minute. What am I doing? I have 2 cameras. Bam. Look at this professionalism. Another cookie. Daggum, I only open 1 fortune cookie at a time, man. All right, so we're going to turn the stove or the oven on to medium low. We're going to put a little bit of olive oil in the bottom of the pan. Okay, and we're going to hop back over here real fast. Okay, so for the meatballs, the meatball part's really easy overall. It's just add and mix. So in order, we're going to do this recipe, which I hijacked from a good buddy of mine. You know who you are. I won't say your name, but I will hijack your website and link the recipe if you're okay with that. So we do double. This calls for a pound of pork mince. We use 2 pounds of ground pork. Comes out roughly the same, I think. So we'll throw that in there. Okay. Then we have 1/2 of a. Thanks for the free cookie. All right. Then we have 1/2 of a white onion. This one was a pretty good sized onion. You can adjust it bigger or smaller depending on exactly what you want to do or how much onion you like or don't like or anything like that. Or you can probably just use onion powder if you really wanted to. Actually, almost forgot we're gonna start two pans because I usually just use 1 pan, but making all the meatballs in one thing is a gigantic pain. What we get for doubling the meatball recipe. All right. Let's see, then we're also going to do, since this is a double recipe, we're going to do just about 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Regular, usual recipe just calls for 1/2. Okay. Then all up in this all together, we've got salt, ground pepper, a tablespoon of salt, 1/2 tablespoon of pepper. We do 1.5 tablespoons of parsley. We do about 1/2 tablespoon of oregano, 1/2 tablespoon of basil, 1/2 of rosemary. So we'll go ahead and throw all that in there. Okay. I'm gonna do 1 egg, slightly beaten. My wife asked me this earlier. Like what is a slightly beaten egg? I think the best answer we come up with is you shake you put it in a bowl and you shake your fork at it, maybe. Like maybe it's just an egg that feels threatened, like it doesn't want to be cooked. I don't know. Okay. Then we're gonna have a tablespoon of garlic and a 1/2 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. It doesn't even matter that I didn't say it right because everybody in the world knows what I mean by that. Put all that in there. Oh, and then last but not least, here we're gonna do Parmesan cheese. You can use the powdered ones. We normally use the powdered ones, but we decided to get this kind this time. I can't remember the brand name of it. They sell it at Walmart. We've normally been getting this lately for pretty much anything that we've been making that requires Parmesan cheese because it's really good. All right, and if your next question was, oh my word, what's going to happen next? Well, let me tell you. We're going to turn the mixer back on. Same as mix anything else. We're just going to mix it until it's all put together. I looked away. That may have flown everywhere. No one knows. Yeah, maybe we'll turn it down just a little bit. That looks well incorporated. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna get some water in a bowl here. All right. So in the actual recipe, it says to put this in the fridge for about 30 minutes, or like make your meatballs. I believe they're usually about like a golf ball size type. If you want the tool for it, then there it is. It's a number 10 disher. I do not own a disher. Did not know what a disher was. No, she is not in here. She was feeding the cats, and I think she was going to go take a shower. You got to remember, I have a microphone clipped on me. I can keep talking even though I'm walking away. I think it's almost like an ice cream scoop, but a lot smaller. Maybe like a melon baller. I don't know. That's my guess. All right. Okay, I'm now away from the computer, so if I don't talk to the fortune cookie there, I have a strong reason for it. I can't see the computer. It's a very non-professional setup we got going on here. But that's how we do things. All right. So, take a pair of tongs. Okay, these are feeling pretty warm. So, normally we just use this, and we do all the meatballs in here. Since we double the recipe because this is a meatball eating house, it takes a long time to make them all in here. So instead, we're going to use both of these. But if you wanted to do just one, you can. So usually, what will happen is we'll make all the meatballs in this, and then we'll get some paper towels and we'll clean up like any of the bits that may have burned, like little pieces of onion or things like that that'll kind of come off the meatballs, and maybe a little part that's not packed in really good or something. And we'll do that because we're going to use the drippings from the meatballs to start the sauce. Painting, but still listening. I'll take that. Thank you. All right. So for the meatballs, you can just hop in if you want to. Actually, learned this from this recipe. I didn't know that. Take a little bit of water and dampen your hands with it a little bit, and then it makes the stuff not want to stick to you as much. And since we're not gonna firm them up or anything, then we'll just have a bunch of meatballs, and we'll be ready to go here. Once we get the meatballs done and we get the sauce going, that's when we're gonna go and pull the dough out of the fridge. Bam. One golf ball size meatball. This is the part where it takes an eternity. I feel like this is where it'd be easier to have a disher instead of doing it all by hand. Because you gotta get out the right amount, and you gotta smush it together, and then roll it together, and then you do that 400 bajillion times, or until you run out of pork, whichever one happens first. So actually, now that I've thought about it, we may not even use that other pan. Although I did just realize now my hands are all super meaty, and I don't have anything to put the meatballs in. So we're gonna wash our hands real fast. This will be a theme. Touch this. No, wait, I'm supposed to do this. Wash hands. That is how that works. All right. Okay. So for anybody who's not talking in the chat or not showing up as a user in the Twitch chat, maybe you just stopped by from the Facebook stuff, or you don't have a Twitch account or whatever. Hello. We thank you for coming. Oh, actually, aha! I forgot. I have a webcam. We're just gonna swivel it. But yeah. Thank you so much for coming. For any part that you may have missed, we started out by making our pasta dough, which was just 3 parts of a double O flour, 1 part of a semolina flour. In this case, we used 300 grams and 100 grams, and then 4 eggs. We used a dough hook in our KitchenAid mixer and mixed all that up real good. Added just a teeny tiny little bit of water just to encourage it to come along there. And now we are making some meatballs. These are pork meatballs because I'm starting to think the pork is in fact the superior meat. Okay, we'll make a couple more, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get some in here so you can actually see something happening. Yeah, note to self: buy a disher. I always just do these by hand, but I think I'm starting to get it. Sounds gross. And of course, I've now just realized that I went to the sink, I washed my hands, and then went over to check chat, and did not get anything to put these in when they're done. So if anybody wants to start a count for how many times I'm going to have to wash my hands, because I start trying to make meatballs before I get everything that I need together, I'll show that counter in the chat. I'm going to have to donate a couple bucks myself every single time that I have to go wash my hands, because I started touching all the meatball stuff when I wasn't supposed to. I think they can see you crooning on yourself in the in the chat. Okay, so we're gonna use that. And no, actually, I think we'll. Oh no, it's the only gigantic bowl that we, or is it? It is. It's the only gigantic bowl we got left. Okay, we're just gonna use these then. Okay, we'll make one more meatball, and then we're gonna throw these bad boys in the pan and get them to cooking. Okay, so we've got the stove out on decently low. Let's say low medium. It's on a set on a 3 right now. Like I said, we don't really do the whole firm the meatball thing up or anything like that. We just make them. But usually when we make these, I always forget to pull the stuff out, so they always end up going in fairly cold. And I always worry about not using enough olive oil. The recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. If I'm honest, I think everybody up to and including good lord, up to and including Gordon Ramsay is a liar about how much oil to use. We have talked about the meatball recipe. I have not posted it yet. Um, I'll post it here in a little bit. It'll have the meatballs and the sauce and everything like that in it. It makes a pretty fair bit, and it's not hard to do at all. Honestly, I think the biggest thing is it just takes a little bit. Um, the pasta dough is super easy to make. It's not bad at all. Um, the Had myself a brain fart. The meatballs aren't. I mean, the meatballs are literally just combine everything, brown them, boom. The sauce is a little bit different just because some of the seasoning and stuff going at different times. And there's one point where once you get it all going and stuff, it's probably like I think it's like a 20-minute simmer time, something like that. Um, but it's not hard. It's just some waiting more than anything. But they always turn out really really good. To my buddy, if you're still in here, I do appreciate you showing me this recipe because it always turns out really good, and my wife loves it. Okay, and I think those will be ready to give a little turn here in just a little bit. We'll use a thermometer to double check and make sure they're all getting where they are supposed to go. Okay, and while we're back to the boring part of watching somebody mold pork with his bare hands, uh, thanks everybody for coming out and checking this out. I've cooked for people before, but I've never cooked on stream for people before. So I appreciate you coming and hanging out. Of course, we're doing all this to raise money through Extra Life for our Children's Miracle Network Hospital here local. I've did some time there. My wife did some time there. Sounds like prison now that I've started talking about it. I I want to say one of her brothers was there, but I may be thinking of a different hospital. Either way, at least the two of us have been. So we owe them quite a lot, and it's very nice to get to do a little something to give back and help them out. Of course, any and all donations are greatly appreciated. But if you just want to sit right there and hang out and want to just make some delicious food, then you just sit right there and you do your thing. We are not picky. We just appreciate you being here. Okay. Probably could have started turning these just a little. Probably could turn these a little bit sooner. Recipe calls for them to be golden brown. We'll we'll do some different flippies and stuff to try to get them as uniformly brown as possible. Some of them like this middle one right here. Some of them usually end up a little bit darker. We try not to burn them up or anything, but a lot of it. See, this is what I'm talking about though. Like it looks like there's like no oil in this pan, and it's maddening because I know for a fact I use more than 2 tablespoons. I did do that actually. That'll sat here and talked about all this different stuff, and don't think I really talked too much about it. That was yeah, that was actually one of the cooler things. Um, whenever I was at TC Thompson's, um, they had this cool little game room. Like you could like ask, and if they were available, they'd bring you a little cart that had like a Nintendo on it, and you could sit in your room and play some games and stuff. But they also had this awesome game room, so you could go and sit down. And I know they had some different video game stuff. I think they had some board games. They had like Jenga and all this other stuff. And one day we went in there, And I don't think there was very many. I think it was just like me and maybe one or two other kids. I don't think there was very many people in there. Um, but gosh darn it, who walks in but the flipping Harlem Globetrotters? Don't know why they were there, but it was really cool. Yeah, we got the. I feel really bad because I don't remember which one of the Globetrotters it was that I talked to, but we got to meet a couple of the Harlem Globetrotters. Um, they helped me spin a basketball on my finger. That was really cool. And just for funsies, on the newscast, you could see the back of my head. You might say I'm a local celebrity. Nobody would say that. Nobody at all would say that. Okay, this might be the advantage of having a dish or two. Some of these aren't like they're never round. Like you make them and they're of course they're never round, but you gotta set them up and flip them over and all this other stuff to make sure that all the sides get cooked and this that and the other. So okay, but yeah, I guess while this is browning here, I'm gonna take a quick break from making a couple meatballs to bring in as to why we are doing this. So you can see on the screen right there, Extra Life is gamers doing what they do best to help sick and injured children at their chosen Children's Miracle Network hospital. That is, of course, like the T.C. Thompson's Hospital. That's our local one. That's where I was whenever I got sick as a kid. Um, you know, now, I thought what I went through was I mean, to me it was pretty rough, but compared to what a bunch of these kids are doing, this is what I went through wasn't rough at all. So I mean, you know, definitely thankful for that. But shoo, the things some of these kids got to go through, I know it's got to be rough. But yeah, all this information's right here. You got a little URL down there in the lower left hand corner if you want to check out the Extra Life website and see what else is cracking. And yeah, so our we met our goal, $500 last year. This year we're being a little adventurous. We went ahead and bumped that up to a $1,000 goal. We may not meet it, but if we raise $1 tonight and that's all we raise for the year, well, daggum it, we raised $1, and that is a-okay with me. Let me tell you, this pan needs more oil. 2 tablespoons, my butt. You know what? I take that back. Amount of any oil in any recipe ever, my butt. You have a set of 3. Oh, there we go. Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, maybe one time when we go up and we can come up and visit and stuff, um, we can make some of this up. So it's not hard. It just takes a little bit. So get your water or your Geritol or whatever you need, and let's get going. Yeah, I think we're just gonna put a little bit more oil in this pan. It's not if you wish to donate, if you are on the Twitch page, if you scroll down underneath the video, there is a link underneath that you can click on, and it should take you to that page. If you're watching on the actual Extra Life page itself, there is a donate button there. And if you have the Facebook status pulled up, if you are following that, then of course I don't think there's a button on there that says donate now. Any of those ways, if you choose to do so, is perfectly acceptable, and all that goes straight through Extra Life. That does not come to us. We do not handle the money. It goes directly to Extra Life. All right, let's do some temperature checking here. We want 145 on these. And the biggest problem I always run into is because they are golf ball size, they always take a little bit, which is fine. I mean, that's a bigger meatball. Yeah, like right now we've got all these sitting at about 120, between 120 and 125 or so. So those need just a little bit longer, and then we'll throw our next batch in there. And I have changed my mind. This is ridiculous, and it's going to take forever, so we're just going to use both pans. I don't quite know if I wanted to dirty both pans. I think dirtying both pans is it's going to be worth it. All right. Okay, and y'all in chat, don't let me forget because I want to make sure that I do it before we end here. Obviously, we're handling the streams and stuff, but what kind of people would we be if we didn't give a little bit ourselves? So don't let me forget. And before we end the stream tonight, I will also make sure to go on there and throw in my donation too. We're asking everybody to chip in and donate to help the kids. We're going to be right there with you. Oh, it's nice when the meatballs get more firm. You can just give them a little tossy toss. Wait till you see a side that's still a little porkish. Oh no, don't do that. You made that meatball already. Okay, make another one real fast, and then we're gonna check on these here meatballs. And I think this first batch in the actual pot should be about done. At least I certainly hope so. All right. Okay, by my count, since we've started this, I've washed my hands 3 times. Oh, hey, my alert's working. I promise I'm not more excited about the alert. I just had my back to the computer because I'm washing my hands. We have a cool hundo. Look at that. Donated on that. Well, thank you so much. That's my mama. Thank you. That is awesome, and that's an awesome start for sure. I appreciate that. All right, we're almost. These are almost there. This is probably the worst part of making this. It's just waiting for the meatballs to cook because they're all so thick. That one right there is done. Okay, we have our first done and accomplished meatball. Which I will show off momentarily. Not you. Not you. Why did I think it was a good idea to not change out of the thermal that I wore when I went through the farm today? That was a poor decision on my part. All right, so maybe it'll focus. All right, so that's our meatball looks like. This one got a little done on the outside, but it's not too bad. We we do ours a little crunchy on the outside, a little soft on the inside. But yeah, that's what your finished product is gonna look like. Okay. And actually, since we got 2 pans going now, we're going to change that over here. And we're going to go ahead and start flipping these. Who decided? Whoever taught the world about the amount of oil to use is a liar and a con artist. And they should probably be fleeced. Fleeced being literal fleeced. Let's see. Another TTT viewer and Commander Root. Thank you for coming out and checking out the stream. We appreciate you. Okay. Just in case anything got missed, we're in the midst of throwing together some meatballs. Making some pork meatballs, trying to make sure they get to the right temperature so they don't give you whatever diseases that undercooked pork gives you. I'm not a porkologist. I just eat it. Yep, that one is very. All right, that one's done. All right. So, okay, yeah. See that one right there got a little burn part, but that looks like an onion. Which one flip that part off? Yep, that one is very done. That one looks good. All right. Some of these little burnt bits and stuff we'll clean out of the pan here in just a second. Okay, so again, with this particular recipe, it starts out with a pound of pork. We double it because, again, we like meatballs. And we're gonna re-oil the pan anyway because that was not enough oil. Oh, it was never enough oil. Okay, give these a quick little stir and toss rooney. I mean, technically, if you want, you're supposed to flip them and stuff. I get bored, so we flip. Okay, so redo our olive oil here, which shouldn't take too terribly long. And while we're waiting on that to heat up real fast, we're gonna see about finishing up making these meatballs, and then we can finally stop making meatballs. We'll just finish up the making of. You know what? That's 4 times. It's 4 times because I touched the meatball and didn't adjust my camera. So that's an incoming 40 from me. And I'm sure it'll be more. I'm sure it'll be more before the end of the night. Okay. Nope. Get out. Come on. Got from under that. There we go. Okay. I think we got enough in here for two or 3 more meatballs. A couple of these might be a little bit smaller, but that is okay. And actually, I think we got just enough here. We're gonna go ahead and start depositing these. I think we're about to have 2 meatballs all on their lonesome in that in our And on the left here, that's the VIP section. It's the VI meatballs. All right. Okay, I will say this: we doubled the meat on the recipe. We actually lowered some of the spices from the original recipe that we're using. This one doesn't count. I'm actually done with the meat for a change. Yeah, we doubled the recipe as far as the meat goes. We actually took a lot of the seasonings and cut them in half. All the ones that we kind of touched base on and covered a little bit earlier when we were getting everything all good and mixed up. Usually called for double. Usually called for double that. So if you want something, if you want a meatball a little more up in your face to a degree, then you can keep the original ones, or if you double it, then that'll be all of the original ones. All right, there we go. But I mean, I think that's probably one of the best parts about cooking in general is you can always adjust your seasonings to how you like it. The original one was just a little bit much for me in terms of like the amount of the parsley and the oregano and the bacon and all that stuff. Just a touch too much for me. I can see where people would like it though. So, and we trimmed out part of it. But if you want to do 18 tablespoons of oregano in your meatballs, you have right at it. Because this is okay. This right here is America, but spices are universal, my friend. Covering the microphone. Spice is universal, my friend. They go everywhere. Unless spices are illegal where you're at. I sincerely hope not. Alright, yeah, this webcam was was not made for sitting over cooking meatballs. It's very warm. Alright. Keep those going here. Okay, then after these are done, we got two more. And after those two, we are all good to go with the meatballs, and we're going to move on to the sauce. Of course, we'll go over each of the ingredients as we go about them here, and at some point here, I'll make sure to get the recipe as well. And one way or another, we'll get it posted. So anybody that wishes to see it and give it a try, maybe, by all means. If you do give it a try, then let me know somehow. Hit me up on Twitter, xritualist, or Instagram, also xritualist. Or you know what? If you see, actually, I take that back. I don't know if Twitch chat or my Twitch chat will actually let links through. I fiddled with a couple things, but I might have fiddled with that. I don't know. All right. Do some quick temperature checking here. That's about 125. That one's really close. It's 135. That one's really close. 138. That one is very done. Okay, we got that boy right here. You're a little bit smaller. You are basically almost done. Bigger one right here. You are also done. What about you? How are you feeling tonight? What are you doing? Almost. My greatest fear in cooking meatballs is that the outsides get burnt and the insides are still raw, and then it winks at someone when they go to eat it. It's not a recurring nightmare, but it's a concern that I have. Should probably put some oven mitts on to move this off because it is very warm now. Okay, prop you up right here on the wall. There we go. Alrighty. Okay, we are moving along pretty all right here. So actually, while I'm thinking about it, we're just gonna go ahead and we'll set these two in the pan right over here and put a little extra oil in the pan because again, people who come up with these requirements are dirty liars. And I hope they can sleep at night. Spoiler, they can't. Okay, actually, let's start back here. We know these were the ones that were getting close to done. Yep. You're done right there. You're done. All right, all right. All right, you're looking pretty good. Oh no. All right, so whoever is in my Twitch chat right now, actually, I'd like to pick your brain. I'd like to come up with some stuff that we could do to make some of this a little more fun. Like, for example, obviously we're here for a specific reason. If we are just making meatballs and having fun, but if I were to say like, if you donated $5, you got to name a meatball. Is that ridiculous? I think it's probably kind of ridiculous. All right, give these another quick Rooney. I wonder if that's what Booker T says. Former professional wrestler for World Wrestling Entertainment, known for his spin-a-rooney. He just tosses food and say there's a toss-a-rooney. I'm honest, there's really not a ton of grease on these bad boys. Much I hate to say it, we may have to supplement the start of the sauce with a little bit more olive oil. Which we've had to do before, but part of that may just be kind of what we're using for this. The recipe calls for pork mince. This is ground pork. And I honestly don't remember what the fat content is because I forgot to read the packaging. It's the stuff we normally use. I do wonder if mince maybe has a higher fat content, so that might be a little something to look into. The spinning wheel of death. Why do you treat us so? Well, I appreciate that thought, Brett, very much. All right, let's give these guys a quick little toss of rooney. Actually, I think after there we go. I think after these right here are done, we'll probably go ahead and we'll probably move on to the sauce. Go ahead and get that going here. No, get up there. What are you doing? There, nope. Fine, do what you want to do. Yeah, trying our best not to dry these bad boys out either. Nobody likes to dry meatball. Okay. I think this one I assume would probably be pretty close to done. It's the smallest one. Okay, almost. Certainly hope so. That one's definitely going to be a crispy one. Okay. That one needs like another just few seconds. All right, now it's getting close to. All right. Actually, we'll go ahead and take you out. So yeah, it's always a concern, but I think a lot of the part where some of the burning stuff comes in, like these little burnt pieces on this one right here, like right there, like you can tell that's an onion. You can tell it's just a piece of onion that was sitting in here. And of course, it checks out that an onion would burn. All right, so if it's giving you any idea about kind of how long some of this takes in general, and bearing in mind this is we prepped everything on stream. We made the dough on stream. We mixed the stuff for the meatballs on stream. We've been at this actually probably cook wise for probably about an hour or so. So some of the stuff can definitely take a little bit. Of course, we're doing it all on here for stream purposes. But the good thing about a lot of this, especially with the pasta dough, is you can make the pasta dough ahead of time, and you can freeze it. But you can freeze it in a block, or you can whenever you roll it out and cut it or smush it or whatever into your preferred pasta preference, then you can roll it up into these into these little nests, and then give them a coat of flour so they don't it doesn't stick together because it's fresh dough, and then you can freeze that, or they refrigerate for I think 2 or 3 days as well. So a lot of this is stuff that you can do a fair bit of prep work on and have it done ahead of time. So that way, whenever it gets to spaghetti and meatball night, you just bust those bad boys out and throw them in the pan to be like, bam, look at this. I've been working on this all day, you say to people who weren't there and don't know any better. You are done. Okay, and give you guys a quick little toss flip, something. There we go. Butt you up on the pan there. There we go. All right. Eventually, honestly, I run out of things to talk about at a certain point. I don't think I like to talk a lot in general, honestly, but I kind of feel like it'd be a little boring if I didn't talk whilst cook streaming. So what's going on with y'all? Having a good day? Having a good time? Oh, that's okay. The whole thing actually works. That's nice. Dave the Dave the Meatball with the $10 donation. Thank you, Dave the Meatball. I am sorry for what I'm doing to your kindred, but know that they are delicious. All right, we are almost all done up with this stuff. Those alerts are not in sync, but that's okay. We are not professionals here. We're just having some fun and raising some money to help some kids. That is a-okay by me. Okay, let's do some checking on these here, see where they're at. Yeah, not yet, not yet. Ain't that the thing though, man? Let's set these a little more toward the center. That's a smaller eye anyway, so we're gonna set those right there. And while that is finishing up here, we are going to get this pot ready. Oh, to start our sauce. So with the apparently I'm gonna have to fix those notifications. We'll fix those. Okay. So starting the sauce wise. Hey, do it.
Camera, yeah.
Yeah, it's pointing out at us.
Good, I'm here for my meatball.
I was about to bring him to you.
I named him Dave.
Oh, was that you?
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry for what we're doing to your kindred, Dave, who lives in my own home, and I didn't realize.
So you said, how about we name all the meatballs?
Oh.
And if you donate $5, you get to name a meatball.
I mean, I was just kidding, but we got precedent now. All right,
Well,
so.
This could be Dave.
And what's the other one's name?
Steven.
Dave and Steven. Dave and Steven are the first two meatballs to be eaten tonight.
Also, I just realized I did not put garlic in this stuff over here when you have a really bad sous chef. You should fire her.
Nah, I like my sous chef. She's kind of cute. Okay. So I'll get some of these little burnt bits out of here, because you don't want the burnt bits. Wait, what? That's what we said. Look, man, I don't know if spices are illegal in some places. Okay, I am not a lawyer. I'm just the guy who makes food on occasion. What are you doing, man? Look, all I'm saying is I'm not a lawyer, okay? Like, I can't tell you if spices are illegal in your home province or state or township. This is not a thing that I know. Okay, so since these are thankfully almost done here, that's the thing with these meatballs, man. They're like, no, we're not done. We're only at 100, and then 15 seconds later, we're really done. That's what it feels like, anyway. All right, well, here are the spoils of our work so far. Bunch of delicious looking meatballs. How are the meatballs there, sous chef?
Delicious. Biting the cat off them.
The wife approves of the meatballs. You know they got to be good. All right. So while those two are finishing up, we're going to go ahead then, and we're going to move over to doing our words are hard sauce. We're going to move on to doing the sauce. Oh. All right. So to start with on the sauce, you're supposed to have drippings from your meatballs. We didn't really have any drippings. I think the kind of people at the Walmart are somehow draining the pork fat out of some of this stuff because we had no drippings.
Tonka bean is illegal.
Wait,
It's an illegal spice.
what's an illegal spice?
Tonka bean.
Conca bean.
Well,
Oh, well, there's your spice fact for the day. If you own some conca bean, don't.
it's illegal in the U.S.
Yeah, if you're in the U.S. and you own some conca bean, don't tell us in the chat. Oh, now how you spell? Oh, tonka bean. Oh, okay, yeah. If you're in the U.S. and you own tonka bean, do not tell us. If there's one thing that this household does not enjoy, it's being complicit in illegal activities. I think it'll bring a little bit to that. If y'all can hear the Pikmin soundtrack in the back, that's because there's Pikmin going on in the back. Okay. So now that we've established, Yeah, we're not gonna answer that. Your friend needs to stop growing them in the backyard. Okay. So to get started with the sauce, since I'm assuming Walmart drains the fat from all the pork, we're gonna start with some olive oil. Yeah, I think that should be enough. Okay. Okay, we're gonna let that get warm real fast. Should not take very long at all. While we're waiting on giving that just a second, we're gonna bring up these meatballs and hopefully, yep, that one's done. Let's check out this big boy right here. Just to make sure. Not the middle of that one. It's still not done. It's getting pretty close though. All right. So to start with the sauce, very first thing that we're gonna do, as soon as I find the spoon that I want. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Nope, that's not the one I want. That's the one I want. Okay. So to start with, since we got the olive oil in here, we're gonna start out with the other half of that white onion. Bam. Hashtag Emerald Lagasse. Okay. Then to go along with that onion, we're going to do some minced garlic. So the minced garlic, obviously, you can buy garlic and you can mince it if you want to. Honestly, I'll usually just buy this right here from the Walmart. It's completely backwards. You get the point. But just for convenience, we'll buy that. Okay, we're just gonna sweat these off here for just a little bit. Don't take too terribly long. First of all, you just want them to sweat. You don't really want them caramelized or anything like that, which we're not using sugar anyway. So I guess more than anything, you really don't want them burned. All right, so we got that right there. Let's check out our last meatball here. Come on now, there you go. Yeah, that's a done meatball. All right, all the meatballs are done. We have done meatball related things now. Oh man, that's why do onions cooking in oil smell so good all the time? It's one of life's mysteries I don't think we'll ever know. All right. Well, all right. According to Streamlabs, we are now up to 5 total viewers. So, thank you, 5 viewers. We appreciate you being here. If you are just joining us, we have made some pasta dough and put it in the fridge to firm up. We have made us some meatballs, and we are now in the process of sweating some onions and minced garlic to make some sauce. All right. Those are looking good. All right. So from the looks of it here, looks like we've got most of this all good and sweated. All right. So now we want to set numero dos. Numero dos. Whichever one you rather. All right. So the next step for this, it's going to be for this. So this is 8 ounces of red wine. I can never remember what the recipe called for a specific one, and that's one we had, but I never remember the name of it. Cabernet Sauvignon? Cabernet Sauvignon? I don't know how to say this. This. It's still very backwards. We'll set that right there for just a second then. Yeah, so it's 8 ounces of red wine with a tablespoon and a half of tomato paste mixed into it. All right. You okay? You at the coffee table? Ow. You okay? You good?
I don't think so. I might need a meatball to recover.
You might need a meatball to recover. Oh, how can I tell you no?
Excuse me. You don't. That's why I end up with a tummy ache every time we make this.
Well, that's I'm cutting you off. That's your last one. Don't do this to me on stream.
You always give me 4 and then you cut me off.
I do. There you go.
And then later I go, oh, I'm not really hungry. I'm not going to eat any pasta.
Can I tell them the Valentine story? Is that okay?
Sure, go for it.
All right, so before we get into that, so we're going to put our red wine and tomato paste mixture in here. It's 8 ounces of red wine and then a tablespoon and a half of the tomato paste. We'll put that in there. We're going to do something fancy called lifting fond, which just means scrape the bottom, get all them little stuck bits on the bottom, get them back into what you're doing. And then we're going to let that sit for a little bit. And we're going to let that reduce. It's probably about 5 minutes or so. So while that is reducing, we are going to switch over and do a little bit of story time. Oh, also, this. I don't think the brand's really super important necessarily, but it's that Cabernet Sauvignon. I really don't know how to say it, but this is what the recipe actually calls for. So that is what we use. Actually, I'm trying to heat up on that just a touch. We don't want it boiling, but we do want it reducing. Okay, that's probably about another 3 or 4 minutes or so. All right, so I like telling this story. Mine and my wife's very first Valentine's Day together. She had come over to the house. I was going to make her dinner. Try to be nice and make her dinner. And actually, we made exactly what we're making tonight. We're making these homemade spaghetti and meatballs. So she loves the meatballs. I'm very flattered that she likes my cooking. Thank you, babe. So I think this was the first time that I made the meatballs, wasn't it? Or was it the second?
Third, I think.
It might have been the third.
We had it at the apartment.
That's right. We did make it at the apartment.
We had it at the apartment, and then you made it come up here.
That's right. That's right. So this would be the third time. So it was well established that the meatballs turn out good. All the same recipe, do it the same way. Turns out the same way, thankfully. So so we're making the meatballs, and normally as basically tradition at this point, while we're making these meatballs, then I'll set some aside. I'll set some aside for her, and she'll come and grab them, and she'll eat she'll some of the meatballs before we get to the dinner, which is perfectly fine by me. So on this particular night, and we both decided we wanted to get all dressed up, so we got on some nice clothes. She's got on a nice dress. We're sitting sit down in the house and just having a nice dinner. And I'm not sure. I'm not really sure if I realized how many you had at the time, but I guess I must have because I kept getting to you. Oh, that's right. That's right. She used to sneak the meatballs. She'd sneak in here and grab a meatball and then run when I wasn't looking. So I think, what was the number? Was it 8? Yeah, it was 8. So before dinner, she had 8 meatballs. So then we get to dinner. Yeah, like an hour, about over an hour, because as noted, this takes a little bit. So over the course of about an hour, she had snuck in here and grabbed 8 meatballs. So then we get to dinner, we got the pasta made, got it on the plate, everything's looking all pretty, and we sit down and we eat. And after a few bites, she's like, I don't feel great, and she went and lay down on the couch. She made herself sick on the meatballs. And I had permission. Yeah, like she was down for about an hour. Though I'm flattered that somebody likes my cooking enough to get sick off of it. Yeah, so now the meatballs stay over here, and I just set some aside, and that's agreed upon. I was at the apartment while you were making the meatballs the first time, so it was at. Were you? Am I forgetting that?
What?
Was Brittany at the apartment the first time we did the meatballs?
Not me, you know.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I meant for something different. I don't know.
I really want to make that joke that I've been making recently, but
yeah, I'd appreciate it if you didn't. All right, so we got that out of the way now. So let's go back over here to the stove. So you got this good and reduced down. Got that alcohol good and cooked off. So now it's just this little slurry of flavor. All right. So from here, we got a few different things. So, all right. So to this, we're going to add 1 can. This is a 14.5 ounce can of diced tomatoes. Give that a quick little stir, and we're gonna let this come up to the boil again. Shouldn't take super long. We got the eye up a little bit higher. Obviously, this is what we're using. You can use any of them. Hunt's canned vegetables. Sponsors. I'm just saying, we're always looking for help. I forgot about that. Oh, that's right. I remember that now. Yeah, the going joke from, I think it was the second ever Extra Life stream that we did, was that we were sponsored by Tap Water. We are not sponsored by Tap Water, but if Tap Water wanted to sponsor us, we wouldn't turn down some Tap Water money for the kids, or anybody from Dasani or Aquafina or Fuji, if you're watching. I love Fuji water. I'm just saying, we'll buy a mini fridge. We'll stock it full of Fuji water, or Fiji water, not Fuji. Wow. See, this is why people don't sponsor me. We'll stock a whole mini fridge with Fiji water, and then we'll put it in the corner, and we'll make sure that it's always in frame, and we'll just rep Fiji all the time. Because if people don't see it, how are they going to know that Fiji's involved?
You pull it out and you pause. You take a break. And you go, ready?
Is
And you open it on camera and go, delicious. I love water, which is not a lie, you do.
I do love Fiji water. We're not sponsored by Fiji water, but I wish we were sponsored by Fiji water. All right, so now that that's back to the boil, we're going to take our second can. This is diced tomatoes with basil, garlic, and oregano. And if you splash it in there so that little smatterings of tomato get everywhere, supposedly it makes things taste better. Your results may vary. I've already promised to make sure that everything was cleaned up by the time when we got done with this, so I am doing this myself. Okay, and then once that comes back to a good boil, which that should be here in just a second, then we got some spices to do. All right, so this recipe in general for the sauce calls for a few different items. So this is so in total we're going to do about a tablespoon of parsley, a tablespoon of oregano, or half tablespoon of oregano, half tablespoon basil, half tablespoon of crushed red peppers, a tablespoon of salt, kosher if you prefer, and then a half tablespoon of fresh ground pepper. So for this starting spot, we're going to take the salt and the pepper and the red pepper flakes. We're going to put all that right in there. Got some. Okay, we're going to give that a good stir. Okay. So once that gets back to a boil, which again should not take very, very long. What's up? No, I'm sorry. So once that comes back up to a boil, which you can already see it's almost there, we're gonna add in the next thing. Community showcase. Thanks for hanging out in the chat. We do appreciate you. All right, so now that that's back to a boil, next thing we're going to add is a 1 can. This is 15 ounces of tomato sauce. So we're going to add that back in there. We're going to give everything a good stir, make sure it gets all incorporated and such. Okay, we're going to let that come back up to a boil, and then once that is boiling, then we're going to take that down to a medium heat, and we're just going to let it simmer for a little while. All right, so while we're waiting on that to come back up to a boil, again, shouldn't take super long. We are going to go ahead and move on to our next step, which is we're going to make and roll out the pasta. Well, we made the pasta, we made the dough, but now we're going to roll it out. So, all right. So with the pasta dough, there's a few different ways that you can roll it out. You can either we have KitchenAid stuff. We got some of the KitchenAid utensils or the little attachments for the mixers on sale a little while back. So we're going to be using those. If you don't have those though, then you can always make them by hand. You can, well, honestly, you can do it a lot of different ways, I do suppose. Oh, you make them by hand. You can roll them out real nice and thin, and then cut them up. Just take a knife and just cut strips out of them. Sorry for being so close to the camera. I care about you so much, you know. Actually, I want to move this knife block before we get too far into this here. make a little bit of extra room. Okay, that's back to a boil, so now we're going to drop that down to more of a medium heat. And we'll give that a good stir real fast. Okay, so at this point, it's pointing right here at me. Well, if you do, Twitch will know. But they're also going to know how awesome your Pac-Man pants are. So.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Your Pac-Man pants are awesome. All right, so we're going to let that go for about 20 minutes for the simmer. So. Business. No. I think she thinks she's just playing with a little Velcro part. You looking suspicious. It's
may or may not be
business. No.
Miss Business. No.
No. I need that cable. That cable's very important to me. It belonged to my grandfather.
Oh, that's a lot.
It is. It is.
I like how you just moved it slightly to the right, thinking that was going to deter her.
I was hopeful that it would. Okay, so to get started on this, I picked up these. How long ago was the apartment? I bought these before we got together. So I think I probably had these like 3 years. I got them on sale.
People have no idea that we've been talking together that long.
It is. Fun fact. We'll have been together.
Miss Business, no.
We'll have been together 3 years in March and married for 2 in May. Move quick. I'm all right with it. So we got these really, really cool little things from KitchenAid. Again, you know what? We're not sponsored by KitchenAid.
No, Miss Business, now get out. Get out.
Business. KitchenAid. Come on. Sponsor us. Give us a hand. So we're using these really cool little things from KitchenAid. So we've got this really cool pasta roller. This came with a kit. It's got this neat little dial here that you rotate it, and you can change the thickness for how you want the pasta, so you can roll it as thick or as thin as you want to. And then this also has rollers for you can make just straight up pasta. You know, just cut them in spaghetti. I'm sorry, spaghetti noodles. Thank you. We're going to be doing this one. This is more of like a fettuccine noodle type of deal. So I can get you a sponsor easy. Is it KitchenAid? Because if you send me $5 and say I'm sponsoring you,
is that your sister?
It is. Of course it does. So we're going to be using this one. Also got this really cool one that's got this neat little auger on it. You can make like elbow macaroni and stuff with it. Awesome. Next time that we're like, hey, we have an occasion. We're going to make we're going to make macaroni and cheese. I think I'm going to home make the macaroni noodles.
Sounds great. I need you to just point that camera away so I can go kill it.
You know what? You were honest with your intentions, and I appreciate that.
Well, I wouldn't have been had the camera not been facing the meatballs. God bless you.
I can't tell you no. It's a huge.
I tried to convince Business to go get me a meatball, and she went the wrong direction.
Well, of course she did.
She went to the sink.
She got lots of business. We've discussed this.
That's true. That's why her name is Miss Business.
All right, so let's go and get started on this for $100 billion. Okay, you realize if you're sponsoring, that means you're donating us $100 billion, right? We will not complain. I just want you to know what you're getting into. All right. So these little things are really neat. So they just hook up to the front of your mixer, and we're gonna lay out our little floured cloth here just to have a little something to kind of put it on. All right, and let's get the dough from the fridge. That would be very important. All right. Oh God, I forgot you knew how to use the emotes or the emojis. Okay, so here's our dough. That is not how sponsorship works, and I think you know that. All right, so now we've got our dough here, nice and chilly. So we'll set that bad boy right there. So, actually, all right, So the amount of the flour and stuff that we put in this come up to about 14 ounces or so. So by the time you add the eggs and you add everything like that, this is 18 ounces on the dot of pasta dough. So if you're one of those people that says, yes, 2 servings of pasta is in fact or 2 ounces of pasta is in fact a serving, first off, go to church. How dare you? Second off, that means that little brick right there is 9 servings of pasta. And said it was 300 grams of the double O and 100 grams of the semolina. It doesn't take that much. So if you want to make a butt ton of pasta, and then or just block the dough and then freeze it and then cut it off into the 2-ounce hunks, well, there you go. All right. So we're going to take this and we're going to do, oh, move the knife off. There it is. Okay. So this is a little oblong, so we're not going to cut it quite in half. We're going to cut it probably a little more about right there. Okay, then the rest of this here we're gonna throw back into the bag and squeeze all the air out of it, and we're gonna freeze the rest of this. Actually, un momento, I just had a thought, and I would like to check on a little something. I just realized I don't think that. Oh no, stop that. Okay, because I'm not 100% certain that. Oh, yeah. Twitch still thinks that we are playing Super Mario Party, so we're gonna fix that real fast because we are very much not playing Mario Party tonight. There we go. That's better. But do stay tuned. We will probably be doing some Mario Party and some different various games, board games, video games, and things like that coming up in the future. All right. Hello, Fred the Moth. All right. So now that we've got our pasta dough here, so I'm going to cut this in half here. Okay, we'll set that part aside. Okay. So, all right. So this part overall is really simple. I'm going to apologize in advance if this is loud as crap. I've actually not got a chance to use these in a little while, so it may or may not be super annoying. All right, so we're going to set this to 1. We want it on the thickest one to start with because we gotta feed this dough through here. So we're going to feed this through a few different times. We'll feed it and then fold it and then feed it and then fold it and so on and so forth until it gets a little more uniform. And then we're going to start dialing this down and start making it thinner and start getting it to the length that we want. All right. And we are on the way. So I imagine that this would hurt pretty bad if you decided to stick your finger in it. So don't stick your finger in it. Safety descriptions and such. Okay. And a lot of this is to get it a little more more uniform. Make sure make sure you've got a good thickness to start with. Kind of smooth it out a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna give this just a second here. I'm gonna give our sauce a quick stir. Make sure all that fond is all up off the bottom there. Ow. Popped on me a little bit. But it's tasting pretty good. Okay. On occasion, you may give it a little bit of flour just to kind of keep it from sticking on the rollers. And then not get it through the thing. There we go. Okay, I'm liking what I'm seeing here. So I think we're gonna fold it one more time, and then we're gonna start reducing the thickness. Start getting into more of some sheets. Okay, so we're just gonna move it down to 2 real fast. Now this doesn't take quite as long because we're not really having to fold this one necessarily. Just run it through a time or two to make sure that it's the right thickness. Okay, we'll take it down another notch. Okay, and this is the part where you can go as far as you want to. 1 on this one is the biggest gap, and then 8 is the thinnest. So if you want a really thin pasta, then you can take it out all the way to 8. We're probably going to stop closer to 5 or 6. That's usually about where ours stops. All right. So now if you look down at this right here, you can see we've got a pretty decent size here, but we're still about to roll it and make it thinner. So we're gonna take this and we're gonna cut it in half and set that sheet right there. Okay, I'm gonna come down to a 4 and we're gonna keep on going. And really, if you want to, while you're kind of going about it, if you want to keep it a little more uniform, you can always take your other ball of dough and kind of keep it in the same spot, so you're not having to completely do one side and then double back and make that into its whole other thing. All right, give this a quick little scrape. Okay, so our sauce has still got a couple of minutes to get it all simmered up. Okay, so now we're gonna bring this down to a 5. I mean, you can tell. I mean, you can see as you kind of roll it out and it makes it thinner, you end up with longer and longer lengths. So there's definitely you can definitely get a good long pasta noodle if that's what you're looking for. And actually, I think we're gonna stop this at a. We want to stop at a 5 tonight. 5's looking like a pretty good thickness here this evening. All right. So since we've got that there, we're gonna give it There's just a little bit of flour. From what I gather, you don't have to be super stingy in terms of your flour and stuff. A lot of this is just to make sure that your sheets of pasta don't stick together, so you can kind of layer them up like this. And it'll also go a long ways to help to make sure that you're. Oh, there we go. It'll go a long ways to help make sure that it doesn't stick into your roller either. So we're gonna go ahead and finish up this other one real fast, and then by the time we make a couple passes on this, it'll be time to switch back over to our sauce. Oh, there we go. Oh, you know what'd be great? If I pointed the camera at the bit that we were doing. Give this a little bit of a dusting. Okay. Yeah, it's looking about where we want it. Let's give it one or two more. All right, and one more time. Nope. Actually, one more. We got a little terry spot in the dough there. So let's just run that one more time. Make sure that's all good. There we go. That's what we want. Okay. Give our sauce another quick stir here. This just got another couple of minutes. All right, while we're waiting on that last couple of minutes here. All right, let's switch that out to a 2. Okay, bring that to a 3. We'll give it a quick little dust on the flour. Okay, and make sure it stays in frame here. All right, there it is. Cut out to our 3, and we'll cut that in half real fast. And we'll make that to a 4. Okay, so this is a few different passes for sure, but a lot of it is just kind of making sure that it's not everything's nice and uniform, and making sure that you don't have any weird spots, or that anything's you got like a torn spot that's gonna cause you some problems whenever you go to actually run it through the wheel with the cutters to make your pasta. All right, so there's one thing of 5 right there. Now, while that is actually waiting, it is time to finish out our pasta sauce. So now, so this has been simmering for a good while. So a lot of your tomatoes in here should be good and soft and easy to break down. So you've got a couple of options on here. You can always leave them whole if you want to. If you like the kind of chunky tomato, you can take your slotted spoon and kind of give them a quick little mush and get rid of some of them that way. If you're so inclined, you can a potato masher or those we've actually got one. Probably should have got it out. But one of those plastic like uh, meat mashers you would use for like making like your ground beef and stuff. You can get one of those and go over this a few times. We're doing this in a cast iron pot that's been coated with ceramic. So once you got some of that mushing down here, like you're still gonna have some some tomato chunks like and things like that, but you can be really just start about as you want to be. I assume if you have like one of those immersion blenders, you could probably immersion blend it and really smooth it out if that's the kind of sauce that you wanted. All right, so once we've done that, we're gonna take all the rest of our seasonings here. We're gonna introduce those, and we're gonna turn this down just a touch, and all right. So we're gonna let this simmer for about another 5 minutes. Give it a good stir and make sure it's all nice and folded in there. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you can see how much this makes here. Like for me and my wife, this is more than enough. But if you've got 4 or 5 people that you're wanting to feed, then actually, what have I? We've had 4 people on this before, so this will do 4 people. Um, but if you want some extra, it's not too hard to double it. That's true. True. My wife's parents used to raise pigs, so they are a pork family. All right. So while that's finishing its little final simmer here, we're gonna come back and we're gonna run this last thing through a couple more times, get it down to its final thickness, and then we cut the pasta. Oh, while I'm thinking about it, starting the water for the pasta is probably a great idea. That will ensure that your dinner is what you want it to be. So yeah. Filling up the pot with water. Okay. There you go. We got our pot with water right here. So we're gonna salt up the water real good. Do as much or as little as you like. For our purposes, we did not salt the actual pasta, so there is salt in the sauce, and okay, so we're not gonna go too super heavy with it, but just enough that it imparts it in there. All right, so let's run one more time on this. Make 2 more passes to get it down to the thickness that we wanted. Then we're gonna change it out to our other guy here, and then we'll actually cut the pasta, and then it'll look like that we have fully and completely done something. Maybe one more that has a little fold in it. Get some uniform thickness up in here. All right. All right. So all of our pasta sheets here are now pretty much the length that we want them, and they're the thickness that we want them. So the only thing left to do is to cut them, and once the water boils, we'll throw them in there. And since this is fresh dough, it's not going to take as long. Like a regular pasta, like a dried pasta that you get from the store, it may take I think it's like 8 or 9 minutes for the spaghetti noodles, or maybe I think it's like 10 to 12 for the fettuccine noodles, since those usually tend to be a little bit thicker. So for what we're doing, we'll probably see it in like about the 4-minute range, something like that, maybe 5. Just basically just boiling them until they're cooked through. All right. So last part here, and then our sauce will be all set up and ready to go, is we're gonna introduce the meatballs back into them and let these meatballs soak up some of this saucy goodness. Okay. And again, we doubled the meat. We didn't double the sauce, so ours is going to look very meatball-y. So you can make just as many meatballs or as much or as little sauce as you deem fit. And once that's all good and tossed in there, then voila. So at this point, your sauce is done. So we're going to turn it down a little bit more. At this point, we just want to keep the sauce good and warm, and we want to kind of let the meatballs soak up some of that a little bit, and let the meatballs come back up to temperature too. They've been sitting for a little bit, so they're probably a little bit cooler. So this will get them good and warm so we can eat them. All right, and then our second to last step in this journey of pasta, we're going to change this part out right here, and we're going to put on this one. All right. So again, we're using the fettuccine cutter today. So they've, the kit that came with this and the roller also came with the one that actually just makes spaghetti. And then we got this other little. I may have got the other kit a little bit earlier just to show it to you. The other one has this really neat little auger that you feed the pasta down into, and it just pushes it through the bottom. And then you mark a little thing to kind of cut it off at the length you want it. But it'll do like spiral noodles and elbow macaroni, and then I think 2 different thicknesses of spaghetti noodle, and it's really cool. All right. So for this last and final part, we're gonna flour up this guy right here. We're gonna go ahead and get him done first, since he happens to be closest. Okay, and this one doesn't have a thickness setter on it; it just is. So all you do is you turn it on, and then you pick up your pasta, and you line it up real nice and neat. And as long as nothing goes terribly wrong, you feed it through. And you got some fettuccine. Look at that. Now, as you're kind of getting through this, there's a couple of things you can do with it. You can always toss them immediately into a little bit of extra flour. And once you do that, you can make little pasta nests. You can use those to kind of make a little individual serving. So when you grab a serving, or you grab your nest, that's a serving. You can always put a little bit of extra flour on them now to keep them from all sticking together before they get to the water. We floured ours up pretty good as we went, so that should keep a lot of them from really sticking together already. And you're gonna have some like little pieces like this that'll fall. Oh, I didn't even show it. Little pieces like this that'll kind of fall off as you run them through. Oh no, and that's fine. That's just, a lot of that is going to be where some of it is a little more. I guess kind of where you got your angles and stuff, unless you made like a perfectly square sheet or something like that. So, all right, and that right there is all of our fettuccine noodles. All right, so literally the last two things that we got to do then is wait for this water to boil, and then we'll boil these up, and then we'll plate everything, and we'll be done. We'll be up to the eyeballs in homemade spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, so while we're waiting on the water to boil, never a bad idea to go ahead and clean up just a little bit. So we're not gonna bore you with that too much. So we're gonna go ahead and get some of this in the dishwasher and stuff. And yeah, I guess while we're waiting on that, if you need a quick little break coming up here at the end, go ahead, get you a drink, and we will be back in just a second. I forgot where everything is. There it is. All right, and we are coming back. All right, so still cleaning up just a little bit. Uh, Good Lord, if there is one thing that I never follow, even though I am told several times, clean as you go. Um, the I'm trying to think. I do not know this guy, but there was a guy who I think he was the very first person that Twitch inducted into their like streamer Hall of Fame type deal, whose name was Lethal Frag, and he did a bunch of different games. Like I think he played a lot of like Super Meat Boy and Faster Than Light, which are both fantastic. Um, but he before he I think like his whole thing was he had dedicated to stream on Twitch every single day for 2 years, no breaks. Just he was going to go into it, and this is what he was going to do. And I mean, he did it, so good for him. Uh, but from what I gather, listening to him talk on stream and stuff, is he used to be like a cook. He would work like he worked as a chef in all these different restaurants and stuff. So he would do these cooking streams where he would make all this different stuff. And one of the things that you know, he kept on like you need like keep up with this, was to clean up as you go. Um, it's gotten significantly easier since we replaced our dishwasher and got one that now works, and it's a little bit simpler still because whenever this pot cools down, this is what we're storing this stuff in. And I really like that angle. We're just going to stay with this. Um, so I mean, this is getting stored in this. So as soon as this is cool, straight to the fridge. Um, but honestly, pretty much all the rest of it is already cleaned up. I cleaned off the rollers while everything was on break. Um, all the dishes were dishwasher safe, so those are all in there, except for these. Get in there. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff's dishwasher safe. So, pretty much take a quick break to get a drink of water and load the dishwasher, and yeah, there we go. All right, so looks like still got a few people in here. Obviously, I know. Obviously, I'm not a professional chef. I do not cook for a living or anything like that. So maybe this wasn't the most fun thing. But you know what? I appreciate y'all coming by and hanging out. Um, Honestly, like really does mean a lot. So appreciate all y'all, especially you. You know who you are. All right. So besides plating, see our water's boiling again, nice and salted. So the last thing we're going to do here is boil this up. So we boiled out the amount that we're going to make. So we're gonna take it and kind of drop it in here and make sure that some of this isn't, some of it's not stuck together already more than others. That as long as you keep everything floured and keep everything good and flour coated, you really shouldn't have too much of a problem with your pasta sticking together. And also, because I didn't think about this, it's dough. So one of the first times I went to make this, I picked it up and went, okay. And when I went to put it in, I just made a giant handful of dough. So I boiled bread basically. It didn't turn out well. Uh, like I said, I'm not a professional by any means, but a couple teeny tiny things that I noticed and things you might have already known, but just in case you didn't, there's that. So while that is finishing that here, we're going to continue our crusade of cleanliness, and we're going to hose off our little pastry mat thing, which is super fantastic, and I would recommend that everyone get one. Got a ruler on it. Got all these really neat measurements for like pizza dough, all this other stuff. Pretty cool. All right, so now you see our pasta's back at a boil. Let's see. Hey Google, set a timer for 4 minutes. All right, since this is good and fresh, we're just looking for it to be done. That is it. So while that's doing its thing here, we're gonna go ahead, wipe up our floury area. And man, I'll tell you what, I would almost rather clean up like where the sauce splatters and stuff, and clean up the flour, because the flour always it's everywhere, like just everywhere. Also, fun little fact I learned about pasta: water doesn't actually have to be boiling because you're just rehydrating it. So if you want to throw it in cold water and be that guy, you technically could. Not sure why you would, but you could. All right, give her meatbally sauce another good toss here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That is the good stuff. Let me tell you. I'm a little bit like I'm a little bit bummed out because like it always turns out really good whenever we make it, and I mean and that's awesome. But obviously I can't really share it with anybody. I mean, obviously my wife, aka Dave the Meatball, will be eating it. Um, I mean my mom and my sister are in here, and we'll probably make it sometime whenever we're visiting or whenever y'all come down to visit or whatever, because it's delicious and we should definitely do that. But I mean, I don't know what the rest of you like. I don't really think I send pasta to a PO box. I don't. I mean, I guess you technically could mail pasta. I mean, like HelloFresh does it all the time, but I don't have HelloFresh packaging money, so I can only hope that you'll take this and you'll go and try it yourselves if you like. Okay. There we go. Got our strainer right there. Couple of plates. Hey Google, how much time on my timer? 57 seconds, she says. All right. Since we're nice and close, let's pinch one of these off real fast and give it a quick sampling. Oh yeah, that's pasta, man. That is the pasta, as our brethren to the north would say. Stop. All right. Drain this bad boy off real quick. Try not to miss the I think the one thing about pasta in general is just making sure that you drain it well. Make sure you give it some good shakes and kind of get some of that extra water out of it. Just depending on what you're making, you end up leaving some water in it and getting your sauce all runny, whether it's a cheese sauce or a whatever sauce. You don't want that, man. You don't want that. All right. So here's our plates. So we're just gonna take a good section of that here, and I'm not a professional plater by any means, so I'm gonna apologize to any of you that might potentially be Gordon Ramsay. If you are Gordon Ramsay, hey Gordon, you want to help us help the kids, man? We'll make a beef Wellington that's not actually a beef Wellington, but we call it a beef Wellington, and you can yell at how it's not a beef Wellington. It'll be great. It'll be great. Everybody have a great time. All right. I think that looks relatively even. All right, so we got that. We're gonna set this over here to kind of cool out a little bit and chill. And move these over here a little bit for the sake of being a little bit easier. And just for fun, since I'm actually using the NOS camera tonight, so use Blue Apron / Ryland. You know, honestly, I'd looked into Blue Apron at one point, and it seems like it'd be good, but I'm like, I can't justify the amount of money they want for the number of meals. Like, we can make things, like, we can make it a lot cheaper, and of course we've got the time to, and things like that. Now, for like maybe somebody that's like really really busy or something like that, or maybe just somebody who's willing to pay for the convenience, I could see it being really good. It's not something that I think we would really do. I would be tempted to try it one time though, just to see. All right, and then finally, the pièce de résistance. Yeah, we're a meat bally family down in these parts, so we're gonna put 4 meatballs each here. I'm gonna top that with a little bit of extra sauce, just to sauce it up a little bit. This one don't need quite that much. All right, and then let's see. In the time it took you to cook this, apparently, I'm gonna say me because I get delicious pasta. It's also a very biased opinion, admittedly, but it's my opinion, so it's okay that it's biased. All right, and then I'm gonna top it off again in our household with a liberal smattering of Parmesan cheese. We like the Parmesan. All right. So, considering we did all of the prep and making of the dough and everything completely on stream, that took a hot minute. But the end result, as you can see, maybe not very well, because the lighting in here is pretty bad. Right here, homemade spaghetti and meatballs, man. Check it out. I'm always really excited for this because it always ends up really, really good. And the fun part is if you wanted to do something else, like if you wanted to do like chicken parmesan instead, and I've done this with chicken parmesan before, you can just make the sauce part. Just make the sauce part exactly the same way. And then once you got your chicken, once you got your chicken breast and you got those breaded and you got them laid out in your pan, top them with this, man. I'm telling you, it's the stuff. I do not know why your little spinny death wheel thing was doing what it was doing. Um, I will say that Extra Life just actually I didn't think about this. Extra Life just changed the widget that they use, so it may not. I guess it may not be working all the way. I really don't know. Um, I mean, if you're still inclined to do so, the actual page has the link, and the Facebook thing has the link. But regardless, I appreciate the thought. Appreciate you sitting down and I think you pretty much watched the whole thing, or at least listened to it. Good God, man, we appreciate that. Let me tell you. All right, so now that we've got all this done, just one thing left to do on stream, man. We gonna eat it. We gonna give it a try. We gonna see what it's like. That's the YouTube thumbnail. All right, so we're gonna give everything a little tossy toss and get some sauce on everything. I like sauce, so I don't know. I may get a little bit more, but the good thing about this sauce is it's got so much flavor to it that you almost really don't need that much. Even for me, you could get like this amount, just enough to kind of coat everything, and then eat it this way. All right, so we're gonna cut us off a hunk of meatball. Then we're gonna get us a quick little swirl of the pasta. All right, and we're gonna get that meatball there. And all right, hope it's good. Mm. Oh, you wish it were me right now. Mm. Oh man, that. I'll tell you what, like we half the seasoning and stuff because the original one called for a lot, so we cut it in half. And honestly, it's still got that like spice kick to it, like oh hello oregano and all that. Like you can tell that's in there. Like it kind of burns a little bit almost, but it's like it's not it's not overpowering. Everything tastes like the flavors there. Like there's not one thing overpowering the other. Put together, they're not threatening to mug you and take your wallet. Mm. I think I'd make this every day if I could, but obviously I do the prep ahead of time because it's been it's been 2.5 hours and it's now 8 o'clock. So that's so good though. Oh lordy. All right. Well, we have done what we set out to do. We made this absolute deliciousness. I'm just, you know what? I'm not even worthy of being on camera right now. I'm just gonna point the camera at this, and like this is the sign off right here. This is the sign off. Nah, for real though. So said just a cooking stream, no games tonight. Thank you. I've been working real hard on it. So, yeah, that's all we got for tonight. just doing some cooking, and that's it. So um, I'm not sure when our next extra live stream is, as is very often the case when we get done with one. But we're gonna figure out our next one. Um, the next one will be game based in some kind. We're either going to do another Nintendo night like what we've been doing. Probably combination of some of the same stuff we've been doing. Some Pikmin 3, some Mario Kart, some Mario Party, maybe some Smash, some different things like that. We've also got plans to do a board game night. We're to set a camera up over a board game, and I don't know what board games we're gonna play or card games or whatever, but we're gonna have one of those nights. Have some people over. Love you too, sis. So we're gonna do that hopefully soon, and if as soon as everybody can get back together consistently, we're probably gonna do another D&D night. Find us another little one-shot campaign to do, and D&D it up, roll some dice, stuff like that. So, but all that information is forthcoming whenever we pin it down. So, as always, thank you to everybody who made the donation. That cool hundo. Thanks, Mom. I appreciate that. So we're off. Hey, we're off to a good start to 2021. So that 1,000 may be doable. we're gonna find out. But thanks to everybody who donated. Thanks to everybody who tuned in and watched, gave us a click, shared what we were doing, everything like that. We appreciate each and every one of you. Every one of you. As soon as the next one is available, we'll put out something to let everybody know. If you want to follow the Twitch channel, so you'll get the notifications for when we go live. Our Facebook group for Extra Life is also a public group, so that is findable. Right now it's under just Andrew's Extra Life Stream 2021. I'm going to go back in and we're going to add X Rich List to that, so we can get that going. Bookmark the Extra Life page. Any information can also be found there. The stream is actually hosted there, so if you just want to watch it straight from that page, you are more than welcome to do that, of course. And yeah, I think that's all we got. So again, thanks for tuning in and hanging out. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And we'll let you know when the next one is. We'll see you on the next one. And boom.